Hello guys and welcome. Gary here from Boat Carping River Thames, and I'm on the River Thames. Right, let's get started. This series of videos has a number of goals and I'll try to be as concise as possible. Number one, understand and respect the river, in this case the Thames, and no doubt this applies to all rivers. Number two, perhaps learn how to catch a carp from the Thames by understanding its habits and habitat. Number three, improve our carp catching ability on the river. Before we can do any of that, I believe as a hunter as such, we first need to understand our prey's habitat, the River Thames. And there are so many aspects to this, but let's get started with the river itself. What's its main purpose? I'm just going to jump over this. Let me do my best to explain in simple terms. A river is formed by way of the land draining rainwater over thousands, or in some cases millions of years. Colorado River in America, for example. In simple terms, a river will form at the lowest points of its catchment area, ultimately draining to sea level. The Thames catchment area is huge. There are many smaller tributaries and rivers connected to the Thames, all feeding water into the mothership. Let me jump over this. For example, the River Kennet, the River Colne, the River Darrant, the River Mull. I'll put a full list of the main tributaries in the description below. River Thames drains a large portion of southern England, and the watershed area of the Thames Basin covers several counties. In total, about 16 counties contribute to the drainage of the Thames and its tributaries. These counties include both those through which the Thames directly flows and those where its tributaries originate. I'll put a full list of the counties that form the Thames Basin in the description below. I'm at Lechlade on Thames, late September, and already this year there's been an incredible amount of rain come down, resulting in the river bursting its banks. I'll spin the camera around and you can see what I mean. So I've split this video into a number of chapters. Number one, introduction. Number two, the source. Number three, locks and weirs. Number four, breaking point or break point. I'm trying to remember this. Number five is tidal, and number six is the estuary and out to sea. So right, let's get started with the source of the Thames. The River Thames originates from a small spring known as Thames Head, located in the Cotswolds near the village of Kemble in Gloucestershire, England. Here it is. The source is about 110 metres, 360 feet above sea level, and from here, the river, the longest in the country at 215 miles, flows eastwards across southern England, passing through several significant cities, including Oxford, Reading and London, before yearly emptying millions of cubic metres of fresh water into the North Sea via the Thames Estuary. Right, let's get going eastwards and we're going to follow this bad boy. The purpose of a lock and weir in a waterway is to help manage water levels and facilitate the safe and efficient passage of boats through areas where changing water heights, such as rivers or canals. Here's how each functions. A lock is a chamber with gates at both ends used to raise or lower boats between stretches of water of different levels. Locks are essential in canal or river systems where there are elevation changes. Boats enter the lock, the water level inside the lock is adjusted by filling or draining water, and the gates open to allow the boat to continue at the new water level. A weir is a barrier across a river or stream that alters the flow characteristics of the water. It is typically a low dam designed to regulate water levels and flow rates. Weirs maintain a steady upstream water level, often to supply water to canals or to manage water for environmental, irrigation or flood control purposes. So the purpose of a weir is to regulate water flow, maintain navigation depth for boats upstream of the weir, prevent flooding by controlling water discharge during heavy rainfall, and sometimes used for generating hydroelectric power. In short, locks adjust water levels to help boats navigate different elevations, while weirs control water flow and maintain consistent water levels for various purposes. The first lock on the River Thames was Pinkhill Lock, which was constructed in 1631 near Oxford. This lock was a flash lock, a simpler and much more traditional type of lock that used a removable barrier, weir boards or sluices, to control water levels. Boats could navigate the river by releasing the water quickly, which would help them pass through, but it was often dangerous and inefficient. In the late 18th century, as river navigation became more important for trade, the Thames underwent significant improvements, and pound locks, the type of lock still in use today, began to replace flash locks. Pound locks allow boats to safely rise and fall with water levels. The River Thames has been integral to human history in the region. Dating back to prehistoric times, it was a resource for early human settlements, providing water, food and transportation. The river's name is derived from the Celtic word Temesis, meaning dark or murky. It was known to the Romans as the River Thamesis when they established the city of Londinium along its banks in 43 AD. Throughout history, the Thames has been a site of momentous events, including the Norman conquest, the signing of the Magna Carta near Runnymede in 1215, and royal pageantry. During the Tudor period, the river became a hub for trade, while the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries turned it into a bustling waterway, contributing to London's growth as a global power. In the 20th century, pollution from industrialisation severely degraded the Thames, with the river declared biologically dead in the 1950s. However, successful clean-up efforts, particularly after the 1960s, have restored its vitality, making it a thriving ecosystem once again. The River Thames becomes brackish, a mix of freshwater and seawater downstream of Teddington Lock in southwest London, at which point marks the division between the tidal Thames and the non-tidal Thames. The actual point of where brackish begins changes daily depending on the number of conditions: freshwater flow heading downstream and tides heading upstream. The water becomes brackish, generally increasing in salinity as it moves towards central London and the North Sea. As the Thames flows through the city and reaches areas like Westminster, Tower Bridge and Greenwich, the influence of the sea becomes stronger. The brackish nature of the Thames increases as it approaches the Thames Estuary and Thurrock, where the river meets the North Sea and the water becomes more saline. Tidal changes and the mixing of fresh water from upstream with seawater from downstream create these brackish conditions. I'm at the most northerly point of the Grain Peninsula, where the Thames has grown to its widest point at 18 miles. Here the River Thames turns into the Thames Estuary, meets with the River Medway and ultimately the North Sea. The river mouth is gateway for access to international ports such as Tilbury for huge container ships importing and exporting all manner of goods throughout the world. But beneath the waves, the river is also a gateway for migratory fish species such as sea trout, salmon, European eel, shad and smelt, who now thrive in the river, along with more than 120 other species that have returned. The Thames saw a decline in many of these species during the 19th and early 20th centuries due to industrial pollution, sewerage and habitat destruction. However, following major environmental clean-up efforts starting in the mid-20th century, water quality has improved significantly, leading to the return of various species of migratory fish. Conservation efforts such as building fish passes around barriers like weirs, restoring habitats and reducing pollution are critical to maintaining and increasing these fish populations. However, there is still considerably more that can be done, such as stopping the ongoing dumping of sewerage into the river when the treatment works are swamped during heavy rains. Well-known celebrities like Fergal Sharkey and Steve Backshall have been working tirelessly to raise public awareness of this serious issue. The tidal section is also home to seals, porpoises and even the occasional sightings of whales near the estuary. Birds such as kingfishers, herons and cormorants can be seen hunting along the riverbanks, while swans, famously under the protection of the Crown, are a regular sight.